Like, have you ever wondered why you laugh when like the silence gets so loud and you're being vulnerable or you're being like weak about something? Like, have you ever wondered that? Because I've been wondering this for a long time. Hi, my name is Lunia. We welcome to the Looney Speaks podcast, and here we talk about becoming and things nobody really talks about while we're going through life. Let's get into it. As I've been going through this week and trying to be more vulnerable with my friends and trying to face this vulnerability with people around me, every so often I catch myself when my friends are being silent and I'm being vulnerable. I'm trying to do this intimacy and open up and shit and laugh it off. And it's been really intimidating. Because what do you mean you're laughing in the face of your vulnerability? What do you mean you're laughing in the face of your weakness? To be honest, like my first instinct was to shame myself. Can I be honest? Like, can I be honest with you? My first instinct was to be like, oh my gosh, she's so like, because I've had this thing where I've been treated as useless, so I've been treated as broken, and every time I'm in this healing journey, I always have to remind myself that you're not broken and you're not a fix-it project. Even not just myself, but I tell my friends this, like, you're not a fix-it project and you're not broken just because you don't do the things that everyone else does. And I didn't realize how common laughing when you're vulnerable is, how common it is to not take certain situations seriously, because apparently it's a very common thing we do to release stress and tension within our body. And honestly, as I was going through these emotions, to which I was laughing at my vulnerability, and a quick Google search, a quick research, ChatGPT conversations, I realized that it's pretty easy to go and just continue as you're laughing, to bring yourself back to the topic instead of trying to run from it, because the tension that's there is just you trying to run from the vulnerability, run from the uncomfortability, run from the intimacy. You have to stay present and go through it. And while trying to process this question of why do I laugh at my vulnerability, while trying to process this, is there's a shame that kept popping up of you're so broken, you're so this, you're so that. And it was a challenge for me because shame has always been something that I've struggled with. To not shame myself when I realize I have too much kinks and too much flaws and too much things, and the brokenness feels like too much, and it overwhelms me. My shame has always been something I've struggled with. And another thing that kept popping up as I was laughing through the uncomfortability, laughing through the silence of me being intimate and vulnerable with my friends, is this thought that they couldn't hold that silence for me. But it wasn't that they couldn't hold that silence for me, so I couldn't hold that silence for myself. So I laughed it away, laughed away the discomfort, because that's what I knew best. None of my friends couldn't be present. They were as much present as I was, because they knew the silence could not be laughed off. But that was my default for how many years. That was my coping mechanism. And maybe I wanted them to laugh at me. And when they didn't laugh, or laugh off the situation, or laugh off my vulnerability, it left me open to how I was treating myself. Because it's uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable to be vulnerable. It kind of feels to me like uncharted waters after how many years of just not being of being closed off, of being a wall, you know. And the shame for me, the shame really was just a distraction. It was a distraction for me being able to love myself in those vulnerable moments. It was a distraction for me being able to be compassionate with myself and give myself grace, because this is how I coped. I wanted to shave myself out of this pattern. In fact, I wanted to not feel this at all. I wanted to cast it aside, distract, move on, escape. then maybe somehow I would be able to not feel this uncomfortability, not feel this discomfort, to move on from my vulnerability. However, as much as I wanted to go back into my old patterns, I had to remind myself that this was a moment to be compassionate. This was a moment to show myself love. This was a moment for us to show ourselves that we are safe. And the only way through that is to continue going through it, is to show our body that we are safe to be uncomfortable through this. Because the reality is, intimacy is hard. Being weak in the face of people is hard. Being vulnerable is so hard and it's uncomfortable, and your body is literally fighting yourself sometimes when you're trying to be healthy because it isn't accustomed. Not to mention that within our vulnerability, we are so weak that our body hates it. And we as humans have all been taught that weakness is wrong, that we should be strong win. You get it? But the reality is, we are loved in our weakness. Because even the insignificant things that we cast aside have purpose. I was listening to one of my favorite authors, and she was speaking about that one of her favorite authors talked about the fact, it's like a quote unquote, right? One of her favorite authors said, even an idiot can write a book, and that's how she wrote her book. And that statement propelled me to write and to not feel as much shame as when I'm writing or making a video or having fun with this little quip and this podcast. Because even an idiot can make a podcast. Because all these insignificant things that we cast aside, the grass that we step on, the grass cools the air, the grass grounds soil, the grass helps with agriculture and all these different things. Even the mosquito that you squat away when it bites you feeds so many animals, and those animals feed more animals, and all these insignificant things that we view as insignificant are actually so much more significant if we decide to be more curious. You are more significant if you decide to be more curious, and even you, because it's never a matter of good enough or weak. It's a matter of you deciding that even if the weakness is there, that it is significant enough that you will address it. Even if the weakness and the intimacy is hard, it is significant enough that you will address it. You are significant enough that you will protect. You are significant enough to love. Because you are loved. These are all the emotions, the thoughts that came up when I was processing this laughing and vulnerability, this intimacy, and learning how to be intimate with my people. This is what came up. And it took a while for me to get here because I was avoiding it. I was distracted by my hate, by my self-hatred, by my shame, by the thoughts and the voices that everyone gave to me and what they told me I was and wasn't. I was distracted by it because it was easier to not face how much I was unloved, how much shame was given and passed on to me, how much my weakness was viewed as nothing. And while being in this process of being vulnerable with my friends and initiate intimacy and allowing myself to be more of an open book instead of a closed off wall, and having them continuously knock on a door that I was never going to answer, I wanted to be able to answer that door and answer that call and give them a piece of me that I knew I needed as well. And I know it's hard, but it's okay. These are the things that's going to pop up. These are the things that's gonna occur when we are going on this healing journey, when we're becoming someone anew, when we are letting go of the thoughts and the shame and the hatred and the brokenness that we think that we feel, but we are not broken. We are just a puzzle piece in the grand scheme of things. We're not the whole thing. The bigger picture is the entire ecosystem of life, and my darling, my love, your piece is significant. Ever build 1,000-piece puzzle and some of the puzzle pieces goes missing and you're confused? You don't know what goes where. In fact, it looks like an incomplete picture. It isn't what you was expecting, so you feel frustrated. Now imagine a higher being, as I call him God, trying to build these puzzle pieces, and you're not there. Some of your friends in there, some of your families in there, and all of a sudden it crumbles, it falls, and all the people that you were meant to impact falls down because you didn't value yourself enough to be there. You didn't value yourself enough to be present within the bigger picture. That, my darling, my loves, you are significant enough. Is a time, is a moment for when we're being uncomfortable to give ourselves love. This is a chance to kick shame out the door and let love in. Bye, my darlings.